What's your perception of me? Like, how do you perceive me when I'm not there? It's something that the older I get, that is something that I'm learning that I don't really like to feel like. I don't really like to be perceived. Like, I don't like for people to perceive me. Just to think that a person has control over how they see me and I don't gives low key controlling a little bit, I think. I understand that I do like to be in control of things dealing with me because of course, we all want to control the narrative and how people might look at us or how people might think about us. And my image is everything to me. My reputation is everything. I'm not sure if that has to do with me wanting to be likable all the time because I really don't care what a person thinks about me, but I find that when I'm in control of how I look or how I may come off or what I'm doing and what I'm wearing and the things that's solely dealing with me, I find that I'm okay, right? And I'm trying to understand this better too because this is me, right? So I'm still learning and I'm still living. But others' perception of me and me not even knowing how you perceive me like scares the fuck out of me at times. And it's not that I'm worried about what you think about me. A little bit I am, because I would be a lie if I didn't say that what other people think about me, I kind of do care about it, especially if I care about you. If I don't care about you, I don't really give a fuck about what you think about me. But the fact that you have your own perception of me could be so fucking scary. For instance, if you just pop up to my house and I don't know that you're coming or you're on the way, I will feel like I don't have any control over how you may perceive me if I don't have makeup, or maybe my living room pillows are jumbled. Maybe my living room isn't as tidy as I wanted. And that to me, I'm still trying to understand that part about me. Is that I feel that I came such a long way in my life and I came such a long way with being independent, but I still want to unpack within myself to understand why that bothers me so much. I think this came about when I was in a relationship with my ex. This was about 3 years ago, and we stayed together. So, we stayed together for a little bit. And I remember when we got into an argument, he would say like mean stuff. You think you're the shit. Like, I fuck with other bitches that had a work from home. Like, he saw me as a person who thought that I was just all of that and I was better than him and just everyone else. And I didn't understand why he saw me in that light because I'm so humble. And it wasn't the fact that he kind of thought that about me, but it was more or less so that he was in my personal space thinking like that about me. And me, I'm the type of person that I would screen a person. Like, I would digitally like download you. And to think that I felt that he was a safe space and he perceived me in that way in my home terrified me. And by the way, for context, this wasn't just one argument. There were multiple things that he said, and of course I said. I'm not perfect, but ultimately he was really a jealous man, and he was jealous of me. Like, you a whole man. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be big, macho, mighty, da-da-da, and you jealous of me, Like, I could not comprehend that, and that was a scary situation to me, to think that a person could be around you and perceive you in a totally different way that you see yourself or that you feel that you're giving them. I also feel that because I'm trans, a lot of times I feel that I have to look perfect or I have to be pretty all the time. And I'm starting to feel that at times, as being trans, if you aren't pretty in society, like people just don't have much respect for you. I don't care what you say. That is what I've came to the conclusion of. If you're not a pretty girl, people will not take your transition serious and people will not take you serious just as a person. I think I've gotten so used to learning how to dress things up even when I'm going through things, or I've learned how to cover things up and look good in going through bad situations. Like, I'm the type of person that you would never know that I'm hurting. You would never know that I'm going through anything because I feel like, for one, that's none of your business unless I want you to know what I'm going through. Two, I don't ever want to look like what I'm going through if it's a bad situation. And that I have mastered that. I have mastered the poker face effect, and I'm learning to accept when things are ugly, allow them to be ugly. And when things are beautiful, allow them to be beautiful. Because that's just the beauty about life, is that you have your ups and downs. But I've learned to master masking things and making them seem like, oh, nothing is going on here. And I think that has crushed me a lot. And I'm just learning to unpack that and just to understand why I have did that throughout majority of my life. And earliest in my childhood memory I can remember is my dad, my relationship with my dad. My dad used to call me and my brother and say, like, I'm gonna come get you, I'm gonna pick you up. And we used to sit by the door with our bags and we used to sit and wait, and he just would never come, you know? And I'll never forget my mom, she told me and my brother, she said, don't get ready again. When he tells you that he's on the way, don't pack your bags. When you see him pulling up in the driveway, that's when you get ready. And I think I use that analogy for life itself, as understanding that things just aren't promised. And when I see basically the promised land, that's when I'll take things seriously. And I've learned to just mask how I feel because it protected me when I was younger, when my dad wouldn't show up, and if my mom and dad didn't get along, and me just, growing up with my mom in one household and my dad in the other, me wanting them together, and I had to move on past that. I had to still be. And I felt that that was normal. I felt that it was normal for my dad to lie. It was normal for my mom to argue with my dad about child support and him not doing what he should be doing. And I learned to go to school and go into life and just act like nothing is going on, when really that was really hurtful to me. And I always speak about, in the beginning of my transition, when I spoke to a psychologist, Dr. John. I was there, of course, because of me transitioning, and I had to see him in order to get like hormone replacement therapy. But also in the midst, I was there for like, so he was like a family and a gender affirmation counselor, if you will. So we spoke about, my background and my family, and also me transitioning, and I'm me being trans and how long I felt this way, and just really getting to the root of just it all. And I told him, he asked me, well, why do you feel as if you haven't really moved forward with how you feel and just showing that in the way you dress. And because at this point, I was mismatched. So I would wear like girl tights and like a girl shirt, but with like boy shoes, or I would wear like boy t-shirts with like a girl skinny jeans in a bag, like a purse. It was like mixed, but I wasn't fully. And he asked me that. And the first thing came to my mind was my mom. And I told him I don't want to like let my mom down. She knows that she had me as a boy, and I feel as if she'll be disappointed in me. And he told me, he says, well, it's time for you to live your life, and you don't want to go through life and just regret things and you're just not happy, and live your life. People that's going to love you, they're going to be there. And I literally masked this the whole time throughout my life when I felt like I went, and I felt that, hey, I could never live my life that way. What about my mom? I always had other people thoughts on I always had other people how they felt about me or how they looked at me. I always put it first. And I had to understand that that was harmful. And when I started transitioning, me and my mom, we talked, and she told me, she says, you have my blessing, and do you. I'm still going to love you. And that was just so empowering. So I can just imagine not having support with your parents when you're trans, or even in the community whatsoever, because society is just so hard on us. But I also felt that I owed my mom something. I always owed her something because she took care of us as a single parent. My dad was in reach arms, like he still lived in Florida. I could call him. He was paying child support here and there, but he wasn't really there. Like I said, he did barely picked us up. We would go to his house on in the summertime, but that was just about it. He would barely pay child support. Think he was the type of ignorant man to think that if he's paying child support, that my mom will be spending on another guy. That's how like ignorant he was, or he is. I don't know if he's still that way. I still talk to him, but not in depth in that, right? But I always felt guilty because my mom raised me and my brother as a single parent. So I always felt like I owed her something. And the older I got, when I would start working, and I felt like my obligation was to help take care of her. I'm going to be fucking honest with you. And just how she saw me and me making her proud was just everything to me. That meant so much to me. But I had to come to a conclusion and say, fuck how she may look at me, or fuck if she's proud of me or not. I got to do me. And even today that she passed on, I just wish she had a better life than just taking care of her two children, without much help. It's kind of like that was her whole life, is just taking care of us, and she just passed away. You know what I'm saying? Not really had a life of her own because she was just taking care of two children. I'm sure she was a happy woman and she enjoyed her life, but I used to feel so guilty that me and my brother maybe took a lot of her time. And how she looked at me was important. How she viewed me as a person was important. Her being appreciative of me and being proud of me was like my first priority, and I had to understand that that was harmful. Not that that was bad, but it was just harmful to me on a personal level. Not saying that she even put negative energy over my head as such, but it was just me. I always felt that I had to be like attractive. I always had to be desirable. Like sometimes I don't want to be desirable. When it comes to being in a relationship and living with a significant other, maybe that comes with just time, right? Or maybe that comes with a man being a man and him telling you that you're beautiful in any state and however you may look, you're beautiful. And I'm starting to now understand that I don't always have to be perfect. I don't being perfect is not even a real thing, like I can make mistakes. I can stumble when I speak. It's okay, I can show my flaws, and the older I get, the more I understand that showing your flaws is just so powerful.